Okay, so this is the solution video to building this little Bitcoin widget. So starter code, I'll minimize the CSS. We don't really care about that. Make the font a bit larger. And the first thing we'll do is just capture our button like we've been doing. We'll add our little event listener and we'll do an alert. Make sure that works. Okay, all right. So the next important step is to actually make the request. So to make that request, we'll do our XHR new XML HTTP request, just like that. Then we'll also do at the bottom, we'll start off with our XHR dot open, which is a GET request, and the URL. And remember, our URL is right here, so I'm going to copy that over. And we could just paste it like that. I prefer to do this just stylistically. Doesn't make a difference though. Let me make some more space. Okay, so we're going to pass URL in, just like that. Then we also want xhr.send. So that will actually send our request off every time we click the button. We're just not doing anything. So now is where we need to add that lovely, and by lovely, I mean ugly, bit of code on ready state change. And in here, we'll add our if statement, if xhr dot, and we'll start off with ready state equals 4 and xhr dot status equals 200. Let's just do a console.log, and in here, let's just put the xhr dot response text. See if we're getting anything back. Okay, open up the console. Let me move this over to the side. Make it a bit larger. Okay, clear that out and click refresh data. Awesome, we're getting our data. So now what we have to do is figure out what we care about. And what we care about is our data, BPI, and we'll go with pounds, why not? GBP, and then most importantly, rate. But before we can do that, we have to parse our data. So I'm going to close the console again, and in here, rather than just console.logging, we need to do a JSON.parse xhr.response text, and we can save that to a variable. Let's just call it var data, just like that. And let's do a data dot, and remember, it's bpi.gbp. So bpi.gbp, and maybe we'll start there and just see if we print that out. Save, open up the console, refresh. All right, first you can see that it's no longer a string. We've parsed it. We get this nice color-coded thing. All we want now is dot rate. So just add that in. There we go. Dot rate, save. And we're getting the price. That's what we want. So close the console down. And the next thing we want to do is actually update this span right here where the price goes. So in there, we want to update that. So first we need to select that. So we'll do a var, and we'll just call it price display, maybe price disp equals document dot query selector or get element by ID price. Cool, just like that. Now down here, all we need to do is manipulate it. First, let's actually take this and save it to a variable. Var price equals that. Just an intermediate step to make it a little more legible. And then we'll take our price display dot inner text equals price, just like that. So let's see if it works. Looks good. Of course, we can't tell what currency we're working with right now, which is pounds. So we could add that in as well, just like this. Add a space, and then GBP. Take a look now. All right, let's wait a moment, make sure it works if the price changes. Awesome. All right, so that's pretty much it. You know, there are a couple things we could do to streamline this. You don't have to have an intermediate variable. The other thing that I would mention, you know, it would be nice to not hard code in pounds here and pounds here. So we could make a new variable up here called currency and set it to, let's say, US dollars this time. And then down here, rather than doing .gbp, I can do currency as a variable, .rate. And then rather than just putting pounds here as a string, I can do plus a space plus currency. So that will just take US dollars and substitute it here and here. And now I get the US dollar price. And the reason that's nice is that I can very easily change this to be euros and get the euro price or pounds. So that's a small change I would make. It makes it easier to adapt. Also, if you did want to add those radio buttons or checkbox for the user to select what currency you use, all those would need to do is change the currency value, change that string. Lastly, if you did want to make this a little bit better, you could handle errors if the API was down, if something went wrong. Right now, we're not doing that. And finally, when we refresh this, there's nothing at the beginning. So you could basically just use window on load if you wanted to, or something like that, to run this code, make the request and update it. You might want to extract all this to a separate function rather than having duplicated code. But all you needed to do is make this work, and that works. Cool. All right, we're done.